I wanted to show some quick tips with setting up your video recording stuff and some of your editing so that we can all share our stuff a little bit easier. And if you're new to it or whatever, I'm no expert, but I hope that some of the stuff that I know I could share and it'd be helpful. Let's run through some sweet OBS tips. I don't know why. Every so often I load this up and it loads me upside down. Go to transform, flip, vertical. Boom. There you go. First tip is how to include yourself on the screen. Set up a couple cameras. You have a camera that's like yourself, obviously, and then your screen recording. You go into your filters and you just add this mask. And I have this large, it's basically just a white circle. And I'm saying the color is white, blah, blah, blah. It's going to trim that sort of stuff out. You can mess around with these different things. If you do this, it looks stupid. So just be warned. Once you have the mask set up, then you can take yourself and position yourself. I created a couple different scenes where in case like what I'm talking about happens to be, you know, in the upper right or the upper left or something, like I can kind of just switch between where I'm at. Another great tip is to make sure you record something that it includes different audio tracks, like your audio stream and your narration stream. You can set those two things up, like you basically just have to assign them to different channels in here. I'm no OBS expert, so go to YouTube, look up something like OBS best settings for recording. There's like some just basic get you running, like get the frame rates right and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to get into all the details of DaVinci, but I'm going to try to give a quick overview of like some flow stuff that is really helpful for me. When I go to edit YouTube videos of stuff, I really don't want to spend much time editing. I want to spend most of my time like making music and just explaining what I'm doing. The first thing you might want to do, if you go into Workspace and you go to Reset UI, that'll kind of set it to some sort of normal state before you start doing anything. Most of the time you want to spend in edit. Forget all the rest of this stuff unless you really know what you're doing or getting into all that. Once you're in edit, you might just have this single screen here. I like to have this dual screen though, where the right is the actual final timeline thing that I'm editing and putting together, and the left is what I'm using to view my clips. So what I'll do is I'll chop stuff from this and then dump it onto the timeline. I don't know why, but a lot of the software is all geared around like mouse clickety clackety. You got to go over here, move things around with the mouse. I found when I'm like trying to rapidly edit something, I feel like that workflow sucks. So this is a setup I used to use for Final Cut Pro. That you could do most of the kind of in-out marking and adding to your main timeline just using the keyboard. I realized after I recorded this that the camera view of my keyboard is inverted for some reason. Sorry about that. So if you're editing a clip, you can see here if I'm going to press the J key, it reverses the clip and L pushes it forward. So back, forward, K stops it. So you can go back fast. If you multiply this, you can see how it's moving it up to 14x. This is better with a long clip, so let's get a long clip in here. So if I want to scrub through this and find something, I can do that. Oh, stop, that's where I want to go. Go back a little bit, start right here. I use these keys to kind of maneuver around and find the bit that I want exactly. Let's say I want to start right there, then I'll hit in, and it'll mark in, like what I'm talking about happens to be, and I want that little section, and then I'll hit O. And so that marks in, out, and then I've mapped the P key to place. And if I hit P, it takes that marked clip from up here and it dumps it into the timeline. And then the cool thing is you hit 0, it'll just clear those, so you can just keep going. What you want to do is go into the keyboard customizations. The settings that you're going to look for are under mark. And so you want is mark clip in, which is usually set to I, and mark clip out is set to O. So I added the hotkey 0 to clear in out, which is right above those keys. So you can put in, out, and then whoops, I just want to clear those, I can hit that. The other thing you want to set is if you go to edit, append to end of timeline, I set the P key. So I can mark my in outs, then I can just hit P and it'll drop it onto the timeline. And then other useful ones is to go into playback, and under next clip, I put the apostrophe key. You have your jump to the end of the clip and then jump to the previous clip with semicolon. Here's how you jump between the clips. With these bits here, you can jump back and forward. Find another piece, find another section of the video that you want, mark in, stream. So you can forward a little bit, stop there, and hit place. Again, the J, K, and L can roll backwards through your main thing just as well. If you're on the main timeline, the right viewer is the main timeline. So you can go edit, find something, stop, and then like trim and do that sort of stuff. But these navigation controls will save you a ton of like clickety clow. I got to go over here and I got to dink 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 and do that stuff. It's really nice to have those right at your fingertips. So those are the things that help me a ton. Speed up the workflow. Anything that can get me back to making music faster, the better. So I hope that's helpful, and feel free to bug me if you have questions or whatever.